out this week with a question. Do you have a driving song? You know the kind, you crank it up real loud when you're driving alone? Well, I found mine in 1990. I was driving a new car, listening to a new song by Tom Petty called Running Down a Dream. The opening lyrics, it was a beautiful day, the sun beat down. I had the radio on and I was driving. In fact, I felt so good, I thought anything was possible. Well, that became and still is my driving song. Well, back then I was driving the first generation Mazda Miata. And now we fast forward 25 years, I'm behind the wheel of the 2016 Mazda MX-5. No more Miata. And Tom is definitely on my mind. But enough of my memories. Let's find out what this vehicle's been up to and where the MX-5 is headed to.
Yeah, there's so much heritage behind this car. We want to respect how great the car has been in the past without making it too similar to the previous cars. So we want to sort of reinvent it in order to preserve it.
There was a lot of pressure and there was a lot of different opinions on how we should approach it. Because again, it's such an icon and has such a following that it was a challenging project from that standpoint.
It's a 2-liter Skyactiv engine. We retuned it for sports car use to be more responsive, have a really sharper throttle response, with a really lightweight flywheel on it, and it makes it just really direct and intuitive. Like, I don't think about, how am I going to make my hand go over here? It just does it. It's completely subconscious, right? And you want the car to have that same, just completely subconscious response.
Many of our taller viewers always wonder how they would fit in a car of this size. Well, the good news is the engineer Dave Coleman is also tall. So what he has done, in his words, he's given an extra click to give you a little more leg room. They've also moved the driver's seat closer to the center and moved the A-pillars back so the visibility is terrific. They've also moved the cup holders back, which makes it much easier when shifting with the manual transmission.
It's so clear that this car was designed and built around the driver. That to me is the most important thing.
There's one view of the car that just really says everything about the new MX-5. It's the front three-quarter view. You see this movement of the surface from the front headlight as it compresses over the front wheel, and then it explodes through the body side. It then compresses again over the rear fender, and then it explodes out the rear. This really dynamic movement.
Now, ladies, take this the right way, but there have been cars over the years that have inherited the label a chick's car. I mean, I think the original Z3, of course, the new Beetle, and so on. Well, the same thing happened to this vehicle. It was originally called the Miata. People started to think it was becoming a chick's car, so they changed it to the MX-5. Some, no facts to back this up, believed it was because Mazda wanted to give it a more masculine feel. So the question I have now, as this one goes on sale, who's going to be leading the way into the Mazda showroom?
It's actually approximately 70% of our buyers are male, and that over-indexes our brand portfolio by quite a number.
We didn't want the car to necessarily be feminine or masculine, but we wanted it to be an aggressive car and very stylish.
I think this car will age really well. I think it's really refreshing in this day and age when every manufacturer is going to like small sport utility vehicles or crossover, that one manufacturer decided to invest this much money, resources into creating a really nice roadster for us to enjoy.
You know, when the Miata MX-5 first hit the showroom in 1990, a lot of people thought Mazda was nuts. Why? Well, there was very little competition. Simply put, there was no interest in a two-seat rear-wheel drive roadster. So you gotta hand it to this company. Here we are 25 years later, and they've come up with a fourth generation of a vehicle that really is small when it comes to sales. So you have to ask yourself, why did they do it?
It really represents kind of the fabric and the DNA of Zoom Zoom, and we've also got some new messaging in the market that is going to be driving matters.
You know, they went back to the roots and they made it just as much fun as the original car was.
So now you wait to see the reaction from the Miata nerds.
We are Miata nerds ourselves, and so we like it, and we're pretty sure they're going to like it.
You don't have to put your driver's license in play to have fun behind the wheel. You can have a lot of fun without going hugely fast, just by going through those corners and zipping around those curves and having a blast.
know, since Graham and I first drove the Mazda Miata 25 years ago, I've always felt, and with all due respect to the designer, Ken Soward, that this car is not so much about design, but rather the drive and the handling. As for design, I'll let you decide if you like it or not. But I am happy to report that when it comes to the drive, this one is as sweet as before, and I think someone climbing behind the wheel for the first time might be in for a pleasant surprise. So the question now for prospective buyers is, do I go with the auto or do I go with the manual? And as we know, today's automatics are terrific. Now, I drove both the auto and manual with the MX-5, liked them both. I would probably go with the manual. However, this is what you have to think about. If you're driving, commuting every day in stop-and-go traffic, then maybe the automatic, remember you've still got the paddle shifters, is the way to go. In fact, coming up to this model, 40% of MX-5 buyers have chosen the automatic.